Testing. Good morning. Hopefully that's working now. I'm not sure why I had no mic and no webcam. Today is the 10th of January 2025 and I'm going to go through today's levels on watch. But before we start, let's look to see what news could move the market. And as you can see, before we look at news, we've seen some big market movement, and that's the reason I keep an eye on the news, so that if we're in a trade, we can kind of choose that as make a decision to get out of the actual trade, because you don't want to be stuck on a trade like that long and then you see a big sell-off. So we had 8:30 news, non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate. Obviously they didn't go down too well the market. We do have news again, consumer sentiment at 10 AM Eastern time, so be wary of that as well. We could see some big movements in the market again, so let's have a look, see where we are. Okay, so this morning we were around here and we had this massive sell-off, and it's come straight into a level which has been on watch for a few days. Look at that, pretty much there. Pre-market low 5888. So that's an area we're watching. We've had this level on watch for about a week or so since we came back down to it that time. So let's watch for a bounce, a double bottom down here at 5880, that area, 5888. We can also watch, as we are in a, you can see we're in this downtrend on the daily, putting in a higher low, or lower high I meant. We need to break down through this level, so let's wait for a break, a retest back up into that 5880 area for the rejection. So that's one of my higher probability watches for today. Also another higher probability watch is a retest of this value zone. You can see we've got the point of control running straight through this area as well, so all the way through this area, all the way through this area, so that's a big region to watch. So if we can get up there today, we can watch that for a rejection. But there is just one more area I do like, and that's this level here, probably my prime watch. And I'm going to be watching for a retest of that area. So we've broken it, and we're going to come back into that area. I'm going to look for a rejection between 59.20 and 59.30, which happens to be the lows of Wednesday, that area there. So that's my prime area I'm watching for a rejection. Obviously we can watch this area where the point of control is, yesterday's or Wednesday's high. If we do break through it, we can watch for the break and retest of pre-market high. Again, we've got the pre-market low we just talked about. So that's basically it. Keep it nice and simple. Key areas today is this area here. If we lose this area, the pre-market low area, then we could see a bit of a move down. Let's take a look. If we zoom out, so let's go to the daily and look at this. So we had increased volume, increased price, massive ending volume, but look, notice the smaller candles as well, so that's a bit of a anomaly there. And then you can see we're putting in this downtrend line. We've yet to break through that. Let's draw it in properly, that downtrend line there. And we're also putting in this area here, the big area of confluence, this area here. Oh, that'll do. And you can see tops of pivots, bottoms of pivots, held it twice. You could argue and say that's not a straight line, but you could say it's held it a third time today in the pre-market. Let's draw that again. So line there. Okay, so you can see this is one of those patterns we like looking out for. As it starts to narrow, and then we're going to see something happen. It's either going to break out or we're going to lose it and break down. So that's what we can watch for, the break and retest of this 5880. Volume wise, we've got a volume shelf at 5850, so that could be a target if we do lose that. And then we do have an area of confluence around this area, so we've got the volume shelf, tops of pivots there, bottoms of pivots, and then we've got the trend line as well. So let's just erase some lines. So we've got bottoms of these pivots, we've got the trend line coming up here, we've got an area of confluence, and we've got this volume shelf. So big area to watch for. So I'll be looking for, if we can break down over the next few days, 5800, 5840, watching this area for a bounce. Last time we touched the trend line, big reaction. And I think that's it really. So let's just recap the hourly levels for today. So basically I'm watching for a retest of this area, 59.20 to 59.30, all the way up to that area there. I'm watching for, let's just draw that in. I'm watching for potential rejection in this region, 59.50. And if we break above that area, then I'm looking for a break and retest a pre-market low. And then I'm watching for a bounce. This area here, we've already bounced there once this morning, so I'll be looking for a double bottom, something like that. Or if we lose that area, a break and a retest back into that area. And again, even though I've got the line drawn, I like to think it was zones, because if we're watching that area there for a bounce, we would have missed it this morning. But if you watch the zone, that area, and then find a bit of confirmation, then that's a great entry. I'm going to go into today with a slight short bias, I think, and that's my primary rejection area there, my second primary rejection area here, and then I'll be watching that area for either a bounce or a break and retest. So quick look at the comments. Good morning, Charles. Hopefully you had a nice break yesterday, and here's to a good day's trading. Last couple of days I've not traded, well, last 3 days actually, I've not taken a trade since Monday. I think Tuesday I took off, no, not took off, I had a dentist, so I came back, no trades. Wednesday it didn't hit any of my levels, and you can see, look at that, it's just a complete mess, that area. So I wasn't willing to take anything. And today we've got some movement back in the market, which is good, so I'm quite excited about it. Okay, so SPY, exactly the same. Zoom out, maybe the levels. No, we can keep an eye as a zone again. So let's keep an eye on this area here for a bounce. 570, well, basically 580. Pre-market low, break and retest. Not quite as clear cut as ES, but we can watch 585. This region is a massive big area of confluence as well, and we've got a bit of volume there as well. So let's watch 586 area for rejection. We can also watch, is that coming into the same area? There's a big volume shelf there, not quite the point of control. It happens to be just below pre-market high. So let's keep an eye on pre-market low, this region here for rejection. You can see a big area of confluence there. Tops pivots, bottoms of pivots, bottoms, tops. Not much there, but a bit of consolidation. So let's keep an eye on 590 to 592 for the rejection. And then if we lose 580, break and retest short. Exactly the same as ES. SPX levels, based on that sell-off, and we've declined today, I'm expecting to be opening up, or at least opening up with this area as a bounce. So we currently should be around about there when we open. So let's keep an eye on the first quarter of an hour and see which way the trend goes. I'm probably not going to trade until after the news at 10 anyway, so I'm going to use the 15 minutes or the 30 minute as a range to see whether we're in a trend or not. Big area of confluence, massive area of confluence, this one here. Tops of pivots over here, bottoms of pivots. So 58.70 is a big area. We bounced there on Friday. We've also got this area here as well for a bounce, bit of confluence, so it might have a little bit more. 58.28, and I don't play SPX, but I use it as a guide. So if I'm watching for a long on ES, say I'm looking for that double bottom we talked about, and SPX is also coming into the same area, then that will add as an extra confirmation to go long. But if SPX is already below that area and I'm trying to go long, then we're only going to go long into SPX resistance. NQ. It's pretty much the same as we've been watching on the others. We've got this bounce area here already marked up. We were close to it in pre-market low. So 21, 21,000, look at that psychological number, so keep an eye on that area, big psychological area, so watch that for a bounce, or watch that zone, watch for the retest there for rejection. We've got this area confluence, bottoms and tops of pivots at 21,327 up to 21,400, and if we lose this area, break and retest a pre-market low. And again, if we do finally get back up to here somehow, and then we can watch for a break and retest long off pre-market high. QQQ, exactly the same. I don't really need to go through these levels, they're all identical, but I'll do it anyway. Volume shelf, big volume shelf there, areas of confluence, bottoms of pivots, 505, a bounce area, so let's keep an eye on this 505 for the bounce. If we break out over pre-market high, no, in fact if we break over yesterday's high, I prefer that one, break and retest long. Also we can watch for the rejection in that area. We've got the tops of pivots there, there's not much volume unless we get up into this region. So that's where the volume is, 518 for the rejection. And then if we lose 505, we've got nothing really until, what's that level there? A little bit of volume, 503, and then 500, and 500 obviously is a big psychological number. So potentially we can watch this area here for a bounce. There's a bit of a volume shelf there as well if we lose that area. But we have got a little bit of junk over here, so we might have to get through that. Crude oil. Oh, look at that. Now that's a definition of an uptrend. Putting in this bottoming pattern. Remember we talked about it accumulating, and then finally starting to break out. That's our trend line, not a very well drawn one. You can see that it's starting to break out because it's looking strong. It doesn't come all the way back down to retouch these same levels. And then we broke out and we retested that area. We said watch for the retest. That's beginning of the month, beginning of December. And then it's just broken out, come up to the trend line, held it. Did we get a pullback on Friday? Yes. Well, this is Thursday. That one there. I said wait for a break and retest. We kind of did retest it, but then lost it, but we did bounce. Yeah, it's looking pretty strong. So let's just update some areas and watch. You know what? I'm going to start removing some of the ones down here, put them up here. So I'm going to keep an eye on this region here, 75 for a bounce. So if we come back down, let's watch 75, this region here for a bounce. And I think that's it. Rejection wise, we've got that area there. Bit of confluence. And this area we've got 77, 46, 78 for the rejection. Happens to be that big pivot. Last time we was in that region, we had this big reaction back down. So let's keep an eye on that. But we have broken out of this trend line. Let's have a look at it on the daily. Here we go. So daily trend line's now broken. So what we're looking for is a break and retest back down there. Maybe it might be worth looking for a swing play or something. Okay, gold. In an uptrend, broken out of this area, accumulation. Come back, retested that pivot. On the daily, don't forget. Broke out, retested these pivots. That's why I quite like the break and retest. You see it happen all the time. Broke out, retested this pivot. And we're kind of putting in this pattern here. So let's keep an eye on this while we're going to break down, look for a short, break out, look for a long. You know what, I'm going to draw the level in so that when I'm watching it next time. Yeah, let's draw the next one and then hopefully that'll be there when we talk about it next week. Not the best line, let's draw that. I've got the magnet on so it's a bit annoying. There, let's turn that off. you go. That's what I'm looking for. I just want to join up as many pivots as possible. Pivots, 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 pivots. And then we've got this one as well. So keep an eye on this. So let's see what happens. You could look for a rejection right now. It's an area of confluence, tops of pivots, tops of these pivots here. Let's go to the hourly, see if there's anything obvious. We've got an hourly level. We've got an hourly level around here. So we've got to break out of that down trend line. So the only place I like for the rejection is this region really. It's a big area of confluence. It's the tops of that pivot over there. 2770 down to 2747. That area there for rejection. But that could be what we could be looking for a day trade, a break and then a retest long. Moving on to RTY and obviously bounce previous pivot. Now RTY is doing what we want to see ES and NASDAQ do. This line, and even if I remember rightly Bitcoin, we've broken down through that line. Now we're going to come back up and retest. And then volume wise, if we do retest, there's not a great deal of volume until we get all the way down the first volume spike. A little bit of volume there, pre-market low area. Otherwise the major volume is back down. The next major pivot is this pivot round here. So if we do lose this area, we haven't got anything major until we get down to that area there. So we could see a bit of a nasty day or two coming up on here. So RTY, break and retest, that level we've been watching for a while, to basically where we are right now, to 225. And then again, if we get up into the point of control area, if we see a market opens back up into that area there, 226 rejection. And obviously watch for the break and retest of pre-market high and pre-market low. If we can't quite retest, we can watch something like that. That's YM. Looking good for a short though. I mean, that's RTY, sorry. YM next. Hasn't quite broken that level there, so we are watching instead for the retest. Not quite as clean as the others, of Friday, of Wednesday's low, or the break and retest of pre-market low. Let's see how it looks like if we scroll out. Yeah, we've got, it's a zone. We need to break down through this zone, so we've got all of this area here. So we want to see a nice breakdown, come back up into that area, 42,500 psychological number. So let's watch it break and retest 42,500. And then finally Bitcoin has lost the 100k. We came back up a couple of days ago, looking really strong. It actually broke out over this level we was watching as well, and then it just gave it all back yesterday. So still holding this key level, this 92 area. Big key level. So you know, how many times are we going to be knocking on the door? Knock knock, knock knock, knock knock, knock knock, knock knock, knock knock, knock. Are we finally going to break down through it? Let's see what happens. If we do break down, then our next major pivot, nice breakout there. We remember talking about that in November. Back down here, area of confidence is there. There are probably other areas we can find in between. No, in fact, there's not, because that was a breakout of all-time highs. So there's probably not a great deal of volume till we get back down to this area. So 72 is a bounce area. So let's keep an eye on this for a break and retest. Again, we could also be looking at this. We talked about this as well. Is this a right shoulder, head? Sorry, left shoulder, right head. Let's just redraw that. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, exactly what we talked about. And as I said, watch this level for rejection, a little bit higher, and then we're looking for the break and retest of the neckline, and that's the neckline here. So 92,000 is a key level. We're waiting for it to break. So let's see what happens. Okay, that's it. Quick look at order flow. There's not really much to look at today on the order flow. You can see price is going sideways, cumulative delta is going sideways, big sell off, and you can see how we were building up lots of selling orders, and now we're just pulling back up again, so looking a bit normal, looking as expected. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching. Trade safe, have a nice weekend. I'll be live on the other level 2, the stream you're looking at right now. I'll be live on, I think that's open yet, on the other stream. So any queries or questions